What's going on? Welcome back to my channel. Listen, man. So we got David, man. David, and his lawyers and the defense lawyers of Celeste Rivas. They had a preliminary hearing yesterday, and it's going to be going on for, I guess, like maybe 4 or 5 days, if I'm not mistaken, before the trial to even see if this case needs to go to trial, because that's what's going on in the preliminary hearing. That's what it is. And I must say, man, like, leading up to this trial is crazy because we done heard so many stories about how Celeste died, and did David really killed her? You know what I mean? And it's like, wow, her body was decomposed by cut up and stuff like that, missing limbs and stuff is crazy. And it seems that yesterday in court that they show images of her body, which is wild and sad, and her parents is in court. I'm gonna play a couple of videos, man, and react to it. So let's get into it, yo.
Day one in the David preliminary hearing was dramatic and bone chilling. There were photos shown of Celeste's decomposed body found in the trunk of David's car, and her family was there to watch. They were warned that they may want to look away. They did not, although Celeste's mother actually grabbed her hand and put it over her face at one point. It was gruesome. They showed her body cut up.
Can you imagine seeing something like that right there, that we already knew that her body was cut up and stuff like that, and now they showing pictures and images? This is crazy, man. And if this guy really did that, man, this guy is a sick, sick individual.
There was a head and a torso intact. The limbs were cut off. The finger that had the SHHH had been removed, and they still haven't found it, but it correlates to the same tattoo that's on David's finger. And that was a key part of the evidence here. But the body was so badly decomposed that they could not identify it. As a matter of fact, just so you know, we got a tip while the police were trying to figure out who was in that car, who was the victim. We got a tip that it might have been Celeste, and we contacted Celeste's mother, and Celeste's mother told us about the color of that tattoo as well as the SHHH. We called the police and told them, and they seemed to have connected the dots at that point, and that's when they made the identification the next day. That's how badly the body was decomposed. Now, this is very important. The police are saying that David, there is surveillance video on July 29th, 2025, of David driving that Tesla and parking it where the car was ultimately found with the body inside. And according to the police, that car was never moved after that. For a month, was never moved after that. So the body, at least based on the evidence, it seems, was decomposing in that car for at least a month and maybe longer. Now, there is other surveillance video. There is a body cam video from February of 2024 when Celeste's parents had reported her missing, and they pointed to David as the person who might know her whereabouts. The police came to David's house and they questioned him. They showed him a picture of Celeste. David's reaction was, I thought she was 18. At that point, and again, February 2024, the police said, no, she is 13.
Mm.
And in fact, I think they said younger than 13. So the idea here was that they were putting him on notice that she was a minor. And they are alleging that they had a sexual relationship. Prosecutors say they had a sexual relationship. They also showed texts where Celeste and David were talking about Plan B. So they are trying to reinforce that David.
You got this guy, he's about over 18 or whatever, on top of the world of just, music and stuff like that. And you mess with this young girl and you thought she was 18, because we can look at the videos and stuff and we can see that no, she don't even look 18 at all. In none of the videos and pictures and stuff that they was hanging out and stuff, you could tell like, yo, she's young, dog. You don't realize that? Like, this guy is wild. Not even of the killing, because I don't know if he did it or not, but I'm just talking about just hanging around her. That's weird at all. Like, that's crazy.
David was having sex with a minor, namely Celeste. Now, when when the body was found in September, a month later, David transferred ownership of his Texas home to his mother. And now that goes to the argument that David was worried that he was going to lose all of his money as a result of this investigation that could turn into a civil lawsuit. At least that seems to be where prosecutors are heading. And they mentioned today that David made $11 million between 2023 and 2025. That's important because the police and prosecutors are saying that the motive here in murdering Celeste, and this is according to prosecutors, they say the motive is that Celeste was furious at David for cutting her off and had threatened to go to authorities. Had she gone to authorities, David's music career would have gone down the drain. So they are saying there was a financial motive to kill her. And they are reinforcing the financial motive by saying that he had a lucrative career in the run-up to the time Celeste was murdered. Now, there are special circumstances alleged here. The prosecutors are saying that David was lying in wait the night that Celeste showed up at his home at the behest of David, who ordered an Uber for her and then was never to be seen again. They are saying he was lying in wait, and when she drove up there in that Uber, his plan was for her to come inside and for him to kill her. That's what the prosecutors are alleging. They are also alleging the special circumstance of murdering a witness, which is a special circumstance that correlates to murder. Now, what the judge in this case is going to do is not just determine is there probable cause to believe that David is the murderer, but also to determine if the prosecution is allowed to try and prove to the jury that there were these special circumstances. So my intel is there is going to be a dogfight over this, over the special circumstances in particular. And we will see that play out as the week goes on, because this hearing is probably going to last 4 days. At that point, the judge has to decide probable cause. Probable cause in this case, I cannot see the judge saying there is not probable cause to hold him over for trial. I would be stunned if that happens. As for special circumstances, we don't know. But that is, I think, going to be the big battleground in this case. I cannot imagine that this judge is going to say with this evidence that there is no probable cause. It just means it's more likely than not.
Yeah, man. So this case is gonna be wild. You know, what I mean, it's gonna be wild. And I'm trying to think, is it gonna be televised? Because I know it wasn't no cameras in court yesterday when the preliminary hearings first started. You know what I mean? So this should last like 4 days or so. But let's look at a couple more videos and hear from the prosecutor as well, and hear what he had to say.
Tonight, our first look inside the stunning murder case that's making waves across the country. A California court hearing preliminary arguments in the case against David Anthony Burke, better known by his stage name, David.
In the back of my mind, you died.
The romantic holiday. Today, facing a judge charged in the death and dismemberment of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez.
We will be seeking to hold David to answer for 3 felony counts of which he has been charged. First-degree murder with special circumstances, the count of lewd and lascivious acts with a 13-year-old, and the count of mutilation of human remains.
The singer faces those charges after Hernandez's body was found in the trunk of Burke's Tesla last September, months after she was allegedly killed.
A preliminary hearing is like a mini trial where the prosecution has to prove to a judge that there's enough evidence to send it to trial.
Prosecutors are now just beginning to lay out what they say is the long list of evidence tying Burke to the heinous crime.
It's been a long time getting to this point, and looking at David, he seemed pretty relaxed. He was in his chair, he was fidgeting a little bit. The parents of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, they were sitting in court as well, and they at times were emotional.
In court today, an LAPD detective described and showed photos of Celeste's decomposed body. Celeste's family became emotional in the courtroom.
These were really graphic images when they were shown in court. There was an audible gasp from people in the courtroom when the images came up.
The discovery of the body in this case is a critical piece of evidence. And so it is ugly, it is gruesome, it has got to be so difficult for those family members to sit through it.
The detectives testified that Celeste's father called the LAPD when news reports broke of a body found, concerned that it was his daughter.
They couldn't figure out immediately who it was. Her body was so badly decomposed, and that it was a phone call from him and then dental records that figured out who they were potentially looking at.
While Burke has maintained his innocence.
Yeah, man. So that is crazy right there. You know what I mean? This guy had everything, top of the world, music, a lot of fans, making millions of dollars, and allegedly ended up killing a young woman that he was dating because he didn't want to get in trouble. Crazy. But let's hear from the prosecutor.
We will be seeking to hold David to answer for 3 felony counts of which he has been charged. First-degree murder with special circumstances, the count of lewd and lascivious acts with a 13-year-old, and the count of mutilation of human remains. David will be facing a maximum punishment of life without the possibility of parole, or he is also death penalty eligible. The decision on whether or not to seek the death penalty has not been made at this point.
Wow, so he might spend the rest of his life in prison, or he might get the death penalty. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I'm really going to really pay attention to this case because it's very, very interesting. It's very sad and horrific as well because it's like, dude, you had everything. You were on top of the world. You know what I mean? And I didn't understand what lying to wait meant when I first heard it. I'm like, what is that? So I had to Google it myself. You know what I mean? And understand that, that's somebody who was got some information on you and you lure them to your house or wherever, then next thing you know, you kill them. Crazy situation, man. But listen, I want to know what y'all think about this whole situation, yo. Like, even before trial start, hopefully they do go to trial because a lot of evidence really showing that this guy really, really did it. But then again, I can be wrong. But I want to know your thoughts in the comments about this whole case, man. Like, do y'all really think David did this to really ruin his whole career, ruin his whole life? Well, listen, let me know your thoughts in the comments, y'all.